Hey guys, welcome to Nate and Greg's World. We're here today talking about diversity in sports, and in particular, we are going to be talking about Canadian professional motocross racing. And right now, sitting in the studio to help us out with this subject is six-time Canadian national motocross champion, Colton Facciotti. How's it going today?
It's going awesome. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, thanks
for being here.
You know, this is absolutely fantastic. I totally lost where I was going with this, but that's all right. Yeah,
we're talking about motocross.
That's right, we are.
Okay.
But don't forget to.
He's a little bit starstruck, I think.
I am. I'm not going to lie.
Normally doesn't get all skewed with his words.
Yeah. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that bell icon to stay up to date with everything that we have on the go. And don't forget to follow us on our other platforms, all that good stuff. So let's get right into this. So first off, thanks again for being here. This is absolutely fantastic. I think one of the things we want to do first is, let's get to know you a little bit, because we know a lot of our audience, they're not necessarily into motocross, but some of them probably have never even heard of motocross. So unfortunately, some of them have never heard of you. But
so you're saying our audience are a bunch of losers?
No, I'm not saying they're a bunch of losers. It's just we have a very diverse group of audience members.
We'll get on it.
Yeah. But, so from what we found out, you started riding at age 4. Is that right?
Yeah, so basically, I didn't start riding right away.
Yeah.
I went to one of my cousin's races.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, I love this. I want a dirt bike. It was just it was mesmerizing to me. It was something that I wanted and had to do. And the next Christmas after that, I went outside, and he's like, okay, we got a gift for you. And I went and uncovered it, and it was a little Z50.
Nice.
And from there, it's pretty much history. Just rode
So your parents were on board right away with it all?
Yeah, they were pretty good with it.
Oh, cool parents.
Yeah.
Most would be like, no, not happening.
Well, like I remember when my boy, he wanted to get into riding dirt bikes. I remember we were watching a YouTube video, and I think it was of Travis Pastrana there, and he goes and does this like backflip in between two buildings, and he just turns to me like, Dad, I want to ride dirt bikes. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So then next couple of years go by, and then I finally managed to get him his own little dirt bike there, and of course Mom was losing her mind, going, oh my god, he could get hurt. I'm like, yeah, he probably will. Just relax. We'll get him all geared up. It's all good. And then that lasted for about a year, and then I think it was like the following year, he's like, Dad, I want to race. And I went, oh shit, here we go.
Now the money starts.
Yeah. But so you more or less threw your leg over the bike at 4 years old, type thing. And then after that, it was a matter of were you just playing around for a couple of years, or was it quickly like, okay, let's jump into racing. Let's, try this out.
Yeah, I think that was the most part. I'd ride around the house and burn laps around the house, and just was super into it. And then my parents started taking me to races, and from there it went to like bigger races. Like I think the point where we kind of knew it would be kind of somewhat a career for me was probably when I was 6 or 7.
Really, that young?
We went to the World Minis, and I beat some of the best mini bike riders in the world. So
wow.
From there, it was just kind of just getting better and better from there.
Wow, that's absolutely crazy. Now, do most professional riders do they normally start out as young as you did?
Yeah, I mean, most of them start out when they're 4 or 5.
Yeah.
There's the odd few that start when they're 10, 8.
Right.
It's kind of whatever. It definitely helps being younger starting, and you can get it into the game a little quicker.
Right.
Less fear.
Yeah.
You bounce better.
Yeah.
All that stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, hell, I remember I grabbed my first dirt bike there. It was just a couple years ago. I got out there, and I'm watching these kids, and they see me come out. I've got my bike all done up. I've got like custom decals all over it and all this good stuff. I'm in brand new gear, and they're like, "Oh my god, you must be amazing." And I'm like, "No, I'm just going to look really good when I go down." And we went out, and we're at a camp doing this, and as I said, these kids were thinking, here it is, this old man, he must be amazing or something like this. Well, then all of a sudden I got little kids on like 65s and stuff like this just ripping by me. I'm like, just kind of cruising over top of the jumps and stuff like this, and they're launching triples and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't think this is an old man sport.
Yeah, no,
not
when
at
you
all.
get to that age,
No.
right? That fear of death does something.
Man. So, yeah, you started racing, you're going along, and then age 14, you went pro?
Yeah, it was. I was pretty much the youngest pro to turn pro in Canada.
Wow.
Just for the points I pointed out of intermediate, and they
Right.
made me go pro.
Okay.
I don't know if I would have went pro that year, anyways, if I had the option. But I was kind of always at the top of my class. So
Yeah.
Oh, so you were kind of too good to stay in the amateur. Like, basically, like, they're like, you're just killing everybody. You got to go pro.
yeah, and I don't think it was a bad thing to go pro
Yeah.
anyways, because, I mean, I didn't really have any competition in my class unless I went and raced down in the States. But, I mean, to
Right.
do that was expensive and traveling and all that kind of stuff. So it was nice to move into the pro class and stay in Canada, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's the thing. You mentioned it, like, expensive to go down to the States and stuff like that. Well, motocross itself is just an expensive sport to get into, even if it's just more of a hobby.
Yeah,
You know?
well, it's changed throughout the years, too.
Yeah.
I mean, the size of dirt bike that I ride now is 10, 11, 12 grand. And,
Yeah.
I mean, that size 10 years ago was like 5 or 6 grand kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
everything's inflation and all that.
Yeah.
It's an expensive sport. And now the big thing is all the safety gear, too. You got knee braces, elbow guards, whatever. Like,
Oh, yeah.
some guys wear more than others, but
Well,
and to have like a good helmet, it's $500 or $600 too. So
Yeah.
it definitely adds up pretty quick.
we talk about that quite a bit on ours as well, like the difference between back when we were kids and now with safety stuff. Like, has the gear changed massively since you've been riding?
There's a few key things, like obviously helmets and stuff are, it's the same design, but it's just better design. Like they have
Yeah.
like, for instance, in the helmet they have like these little gel packs that for concussions and stuff that help with that. So that has improved quite a bit, where before, you'd maybe have a small crash and get a concussion, where now you can have that small crash and not have that, right?
Right.
And then a big thing is neck braces. For instance, when I was 16, I broke my neck. I wasn't wearing a neck brace. They didn't have them back then.
Right. Yeah, I saw that you were laid up for a while with.
Yeah, for a few months.
Yeah.
It was pretty scary. It actually wasn't one of my worst injuries. It was, well,
Breaking your neck wasn't one of your worst injuries.
it didn't feel the worst, I should
Okay.
say. Yeah,
How old were you when you broke your neck?
16.
16.
So I was kind of dumb and didn't really know much about it at then, and
Yeah.
probably didn't know the consequences of it. So
Right.
I kind of just brushed that one off and moved on. Right? It didn't hurt that bad compared to some
wow.
of my other injuries. So
Really?
I got through that one pretty easy.
So
But,
you broke your neck and your mom was still like, yeah, go for it. Jump back on that bike. Or was it like, maybe we should rethink this?
Yeah, no, that's the funny part. I think my mom was all for it. She was okay. I think it was my dad that was actually more against it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He wouldn't have said it then, but now he kind of says that.
Right.
Well, luckily, Mom had her way, and you're back on. 'Cause
Yeah.
if not, six championships later, just crazy. But then we're seeing that you went with like Blackfoot Yamaha. Did I get that right? They were who you started out with.
Yeah, so, my first few years pro was with Richmond Kawasaki,
Okay.
and had some good races, but was kind of all over the map, and I don't know. It was a tough few years moving into the pro class. Didn't really have some great guidance. The team was good. I just had a whole lot of problems, and then Blackfoot came to me with an offer and a good program. And it was kind of like my last chance, like, hey, I better get on the program, better start training hard.
Yeah.
And so they set me up with a trainer and all that kind of stuff. Before, I didn't really train too hard, and that was kind of like their key to signing me is, what, you're going to work hard, you're going to do this, you're going to do exactly what we say and when we
Right.
say it. So I drove down to Georgia. That's where they wanted me to train. I trained down there with JSR and Blair Morgan, and they kind of taught me everything they knew, and from there on, it was step up, step up, step up.
Yeah, we're not playing anymore. We're going for it.
Yeah, where with those first few years, it was just kind of like I was just kind of having more fun kind of thing, and maybe not taking it as serious as I could with training and eating proper. It's just there's a lot of things that go into it.
Oh yeah.
On my side of things with the team and everything to come together, it's pretty tough.
Yeah. Well, because that was the one thing that I've been hearing for the last few years, that motocross racers, like professional motocross racers, are some of the most physically fit athletes in the world. Like the only people that actually have the same caliber of stamina are professional soccer players. That,
really?
Can you attest to that? Because I
just
imagine
drink a lot of beer and then jump on the bike. Isn't that how that works?
That's how I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 20 years ago you could get away with that.
Yeah.
But since Carmichael he changed the sport with training, and everybody's in shape now. That's the difference between first and 10th or whatever. So you got to be fit. You got to eat well. It's for a 35-minute moto, you're pretty much going 100% max heart rate, and
fuck, I can't do that for 30 seconds.
So with your training, is it cardio based mostly, strength, endurance? What is the training regimen like?
I've basically worked with the same trainer since the Blackfoot days, and we've kind of modified it through the years. It's basically 50% weight training, 50% cardio kind of thing.
Yeah. So are you in the gym every day?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's usually a few things a day. Gym. I do a lot of yoga, stuff like that.
Yeah, the flexibility, I'm sure, is big, right?
Yeah, I never really thought of that when I was younger, but as soon as I started getting into the yoga, I was like, man, I feel better. I can recover faster. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeez.
Yeah, because you get beat the shit out of on those bikes. I've watched those races so many. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, and that's the thing. I remember, when the boy first got his bike, and I had all my buddies saying, well, you better get a bike too, because you're going to have to be able to chase this kid down, right? So I went, I got a bike, and I'm like, yeah, shit, okay, whatever. I sit on a bike, I twist the throttle, and away I go.
Yeah,
how hard can it be?
Nah.
I remember I went to the track, I went and did just that, but I'm like, you know what, I could probably do this. I was practicing a couple corners and stuff like this, and I was giving her pretty hard. Well, we packed up the bikes into the back of the truck there, and then by the time we came home, it was about a half-hour ride to get home. And we get home, and I told everybody, okay, so this is how we're going to unpack, put things away, and everybody's like, all right, yeah, good, perfect. I opened up the door, and I fell out of the truck. My legs would not move. That's why I realized, this is not an old man sport, and clearly my fitness isn't there at all. I was thinking about going to the gym there, the other day, and then I forgot. So it's been 18 straight years I've forgotten to go to the gym.
Yeah,
so
that happens. So what does your nutrition look like then? What does that entail? How do they put that together for a...
Just, I've worked with my trainer for years on that too. It's just little things here and there. I mean, for the most part, it's just eating healthy and staying away from the bad stuff.
Right.
I try not to go into it too much because it's expensive to eat healthy too, right?
Oh,
so you can go all organic and stuff like that, but for the most part, I just eat healthy and...
Right. So you're not supersizing your fries at McDonald's and stuff like that?
No McDonald's.
No McDonald's
no
at all?
McDonald's.
No.
Do you do cheat days where you can go and eat and drink whatever you want?
So, yeah, the only thing I like, my ultimate food is after race day. If I have a good race day, I'll go to Moxie's and get a white chocolate brownie.
Nice.
That's my to die for.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you reward yourself if you've had a good race.
Yeah.
What if you've had a shit race? Or did those ever happen?
Well, sometimes you still go for the brownie.
That's right. Comes comfort food. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
Right on.
So, you moved from Blackfoot there, and then you hooked up with GDR. You hooked up with them and pretty much been with them ever since. Is that right?
Yeah, well, so there was I went with Blackfoot.
Yeah.
Well, let's start from the beginning. So
Okay.
it was Rich McCowie, and then it was Blackfoot.
Yeah.
And then Blackfoot actually closed their doors.
Okay.
They quit their race team and didn't really have too much to go to. So I went to KTM.
Right.
2 years at KTM, which was probably the 2 worst years of my life.
Right.
First year I got hurt. Second year I also got hurt. So it was like 2 years that were just kind of a write-off.
Yeah.
And then from there I went to the GDR Honda team.
Right.
Been with them for the last 6 years.
When you talk about getting hurt, was that the neck or was that something else?
That was one of my worst ones. The first year was just a shoulder. It kind of put me out for the whole season. I tried to ride and I tried to push through it, and by I think like the 6th or 7th round, I was like, I can't do this anymore, and missed the last 3.
Right.
And then regrouped for the next season, won the first round, went to the second round, had like a tiny crash. Some guy came over the jump, landed right on me. Compound, tib fib.
Oh, man.
And that was the worst one. So it was like...
Tibula and fibula?
Yeah.
Busted them both.
Yeah, so I got up after... Or, well, I tried to get up after I was hit, and my right leg was basically at my hip.
Oh.
So it was a big U shape.
Oh.
And then I didn't know what to do. Like, I was pretty scared. Like, so I was just like, it's going to have to go back one way or another. So I just plopped it back straight.
Oh.
And then I could just feel blood running, and it was pretty gnarly from there.
Oh,
so then I got airlifted out of there and all that sort of fun stuff. But, yeah, it was definitely the worst injury I've had.
That's crazy.
Bone through skin with that?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. So you got pins now and fucking...
Yeah, I got a rod, 4 screws. And then the other worst part was that I also basically shattered my hand too. So I almost lost this finger, dislocated.
Oh,
which
wow.
almost took a little bit of the pain of the leg away.
Wow, that is crazy.
How long was that recovery?
That was probably good 6 or 7 months. That one was pretty long. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, watching. I love watching the videos on YouTube there of the comparisons between like Supercross and motocross versus soccer players, right? I love watching those because you go and you see someone run by a soccer player and then they're down on the ground having to be stretchered out, and then you go and you watch like the motocross and Supercross riders. They go and they have this massive, gnarly, crash, and they just get back up, kick the bike back over, and away they go.
Right.
And I remember seeing one of the younger guys there. I guess he had popped out his shoulder or something like that. He's sitting back on his bike, and the medical crew goes and just pops the shoulder back in, and boom, off he goes to race some more. I was like,
is that kind of the attitude of the culture? Like, you race injured? If you can fucking race, get on your bike and race.
Yeah, I think that's it's changed a little bit throughout the years. Like, I think you have to be a little bit smarter, especially with head injuries and stuff like that, where people have got smarter with that. But I think the problem is a lot of these guys don't make a huge amount of money, so they're racing for a paycheck out there. So if they can ride, they're riding to get that paycheck.
What about the sponsors? How do they do they push you to ride when you're injured, or are they kind of like, hey, take some time?
I think it's really dependent on who your sponsors are and what teams you ride for. I've always been on pretty good teams where they're like, hey, if you're hurt, it's up to you. Which, I think that's most case scenarios.
Right.
It gets a little bit different when you get into championship points and stuff like that. But sometimes you just have to. Like, if you're the guy that needs the money, you're going out there to ride regardless.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I've ridden with broken collarbones before, broken arms, stuff like that.
Really?
So, yeah.
How do you land? Like, if you got a fucking shattered collarbone or arm, and you're coming off those like jumps and hitting.
Yeah,
like, that's
it don't feel nice.
No, it's
no. But I think what people don't realize is there's so much adrenaline going through your body that it just kind of takes over for it.
Yeah.
Like there was, I think it was 2011, I broke my collarbone in practice at the first round, and my trainer's like, yeah, it's not broken. He's stretching me out, trying to get it better, and I go first lap in the first moto, and I couldn't even jump any of the jumps, and I was just like, finally, like, dude, we just got to do this, like, get through the day.
Yeah.
Ended up coming from 15th, won the first moto, won the second moto, and then go to the doctor on Monday. Yeah, it's broken. Try to ride the next weekend. Couldn't ride the next weekend. Missed that weekend.
Wow.
And then finally there was like a 2-week break, and then ended up winning every single race that year.
Holy shit.
And ended up winning the championship. But it's just like, if I didn't maybe ride that first race, I might have been out of the championship.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, for sure. But are all those injuries coming back to bite you in the ass now?
My neck is probably the one that bugs me the most. Everything else is half decent, but yeah.
With your leg, can you tell when rain is coming? Are you one of those people like it's gonna fucking rain in 2 hours? I can feel it coming.
No, definitely not.
Well, not yet, anyways.
Yeah, not yet. I think I'm still young enough where I don't feel it too much.
Yeah.
But I'm sure once I get up there, I'm gonna feel it.
Oh, 40.
Wow.
40 is that line. You start to feel it all.
I'm not looking forward to it. No, not at all.
Now here's another question for you. With you riding for GDR, I've been told, and I've seen other things saying that the Gopher Dunes track is by far the hardest track in the entire circuit. I've heard other riders say that and stuff like that. Do you think that helped you out, being able to ride the Gopher Dunes track all the time?
Maybe. I haven't really had my best races there. That's usually my worst race of the year, to be honest. Right. And on a practice day, it's not that rough. But on race day, when they water it and there's that many guys out there, it's by far the gnarliest track I've ever ridden.
Oh wow!
But to say that it's maybe better, I don't know. It's probably helped a little bit here and there with pushing through on other tracks and stuff like that. But that's the thing with tracks, is they change so much from practice day to a race day.
Yeah. Well, because I know, I've taken the boy out there many, many times. He played on the little pee-wee track and stuff like this, and I wasn't allowed to play on the pee-wee track because of the size of my bike. Which I really wish they'd just let me do it. It should go by skill level, not how big your bike is.
I'm not getting it out a second, so I don't know what you're worried about.
But I went and I've gone and hit that track, and being very limited experience. Okay, I can start the bike up. I can ride around a little bit. I've managed to get it up to fourth gear once, right? That's about the best I've ever done. But go for, I get out there for a couple laps and be like, yep, I'm good for the day. I'll go play around in the pits or something like that,
Yeah.
But I remember my boy, he went and he's like, yeah, Dad, I think I'm good to go for the big track. And I'm like, well, okay, if that's what you want to do. And he got out there and the ruts were up above his pegs and stuff like this, and basically he fell off the one time, and his bike just stayed standing straight up. He played a little bit there, then realized, no, I'm better at the pee-wee track. But
that's a good thing about the sand track, is it don't hurt as much when you crash.
You fall,
That's the only good thing. You're probably going to crash more, but it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah.
So are there tracks that you race that okay, this weekend I got this track, and you're like, oh, I don't want it. I hate this track. I don't like it. Do you have those tracks where you're just like...
I mean, for the most part, all the tracks are pretty good. Gopher is probably the toughest track. There used to be a track on the East Coast that I hated to go to because it was just super hard packed, slippery. Could never figure it out, but for the most part, most of the tracks are pretty good.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Now, you've also represented Team Canada multiple times for Motocross the Nations.
Yep.
How many times did you actually do that?
5 or 6. I would have to count, but we went to England twice. We went to Latvia, the U.S. twice, and I think there's one more. But there's a few years where I actually got hurt, so I wasn't able to go.
Right.
But it was always one of the events that was pretty awesome to go to, represent your country.
Yeah.
It's kind of more so like a fun race. You can enjoy it a little bit more. And the last one that I did in the States was a big mutter, but it was probably one of the coolest ones that I went to because it was so close to Canada.
Right.
It was in Redbud.
Okay.
So, what's that? Michigan, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And we drove to it. And it was just so awesome having so many Canadians fans there. It was just like And I actually got a really good start. The one moto, I ended up 9th, I believe.
Nice.
So out of pretty much the best racers in the world.
Yeah.
And I was in 2nd or 3rd the first lap, and I could just hear everybody just going wild.
Oh, yeah.
So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. That's definitely got to help you out. Because, like, I know, like, with other sports, you know, if it's a home game, you're just that much more amped up, and it kind of helps you do that a little bit better. So I'd imagine, you know, having those fans there at this race.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I'll never forget it for sure.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Nice. But then you've now gone and retired after your 6th championship.
Yep.
Okay, I got to ask, how old are you?
31.
31, and he's retired. Like, man, that's crazy. You know, but mind you, with all the injuries and stuff like that, like that pretty much is, you know, like if you're racing after you're 31, you're pretty much considered an old man at that point in time, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it depends. So, like Ryan Villapoto, one of the best U.S. racers of all time.
Yeah.
He retired when he was 28.
Yeah.
Justin Brayton, he's still racing. He's 35, I believe.
Wow.
And he won a race last year. So it kind of depends on the person and like their drive and, you know, how hard they've been into it or how long.
Right.
For me, it was just, I couldn't go any longer. I just felt like my body was kind of letting me down. And I think the main thing was like 20, what are we in, 2020 right now?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So last year was 2019. The year before was 2018. So 2018, I actually wanted to retire after 2018.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what do I do now? I was like, I didn't know what to do. So I was like, okay, let's go one more year.
Right.
And the first race, it was on a pretty high speed, crazy track.
Yeah.
I ended up doing okay, but there was like a couple sections on the track where guys were rolling faster, and I was like, dude, I can't push any harder. Like, I'm going to crash my brains out. This is not worth it. Like, that was kind of when I knew, like, it's time to retire. Like, let's finish off this year safe and just be done with it.
So smart, because you hear that so much in sports, right? Like, you know, what do I do? Because if you're in sports heavy, you've got until you're 30, and then you're considered old.
Yeah.
And your body's breaking down, and you're not as good as you were, and everybody has to make that decision, right? So that's always like, what do I do now? Like, I've got the next 60 years.
Yeah.
And all I've ever done is race or play this sport or do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
That's a hard. So, but you set yourself up in a way now that you're good to, you know, continue in the sport just at a different level.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would have done maybe a couple things a little bit differently and been a little bit more prepared for it. Like, it's a tough sport because it's not like hockey or tennis and some of those sports where you can actually go to school and get a scholarship for it.
Yeah.
I mean, motocross, you basically drop out of school.
Yeah.
I didn't make it through school. I think I made it to grade 9 or 10.
Right.
Did homeschooling for a year and barely did that. And my career started taking off from there. So it was like, you know, do I do my schoolwork or do I do my training?
Right.
That's a pretty easy answer at that age.
Yeah.
Fuck school.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was pretty lucky to be able to have a career in it. I mean, if it wouldn't have gone that way, I probably would be kicking myself in the ass right now. But at the same point, I'm like, shit, I should have just did my schoolwork. I probably would have had time for it, but it is what it is now. Probably would have done it differently if I did it again. But
yeah, you think you would have done the homeschool? Like, got it done?
Yeah, I think I would have found a way to do it. I think just when you're young, you're just like, I don't know, I was so focused on it that it, you know, school was just, I don't know, it wasn't really a goal of mine. And I mean, I had teachers tell me, like, I had one teacher tell me, there's no way you're going to make it in motocross. Like, good luck. Like,
so then it was a big fuck you, watch this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Don't you love looking back at that shit? You're like, okay, we'll see.
So you decided last year was going to be your last year, you know, after that first race there.
Yep.
And you said you were basically just going to coast through the rest of the year and away you go, but then you still ended up with the championship at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Not bad for coasting.
Nice way to go out too, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't really call it coasting, but you know, I did everything that I could possibly do, but it was a grind, and I wouldn't want to do it again. Kind of thing. Like to finish off the year and get that championship, it's definitely rewarding.
Yeah.
But the effort that I had to put in, injuries that I had to go through the year, it was pretty grueling.
That's crazy. Just crazy. So you've had the Motocross Nations, you've had the 6 championships. What are some of your favorite highlights of your career that you've had, other than those obvious ones? Because that's huge. You don't get much bigger than those.
Yeah, no, those are definitely the highlights for sure.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, I don't know, like for me now, like my kid is riding, my son. That's like, just a highlight of going riding during the week is just as high as a championship for me, I think.
Oh, wow.
Just seeing him ride and progress and get better as he goes along, it's pretty cool to see.
How old is your son?
He is 5.
5? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want him to take this avenue? Like, would you like to see him go professional at some point?
No. No, but if he wants to, I'll fully support it.
Yeah. It's so funny how that is, eh? Everybody in the sports or entertainment industry, when you ask, hey, what about your kid?
Yeah.
No, I'd like him to do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I think it's so hard for him when he's been born into it and seen dad do it for so long that he wants to do it as well. But I don't know. I think it's cool either way. Like, if he wants to do it, great. If he doesn't, that's fine too.
Well, I know what it would have sold me on trying to go professional was, looking at all the energy drink girls that are out there, handing you the trophies and stuff. I would have been like, yes, this is what I'm doing.
This is it. This is the future.
But so basically, the history of motocross, it's definitely not what it started out as. It got started in Europe just after World War I, right? And it was more or less, let's take the bikes around this, more or less a cross-country course, and let's see how fast we can do it and stuff like that. But nowadays, you have motocross, and then you have supercross that's going on. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically motocross is just the outdoor, longer track. I've heard not as technical. Stuff like that. So it's just you're going as quick as you can. There's some fairly big jumps and stuff like that, but it might be a little more forgiving. Whereas Supercross, it's indoors, it's highly technical. You got to make sure that you're at the right speed for every jump every time, or else you're screwed. Is that pretty much a good analogy?
Yeah, for sure. I think outdoors is definitely less technical. It's faster though, so it's. I feel like it's still just as dangerous. Supercross, you're in 3rd gear. Outdoors, you're in 5th gear, 6th gear, wide open. So it depends where you crash, but being less technical, I think there's less crashes outdoors.
Right.
But the ones that are crashes, they're pretty high speed and some damage can be done for sure.
Oh yeah.
Supercross, it's a little slower, but the jumps are bigger. There's whoops. Outdoors, you don't have whoops. And that's one of the toughest things in indoors.
Okay, can you explain those for pretty much everybody else that has no idea about motocross and supercross?
So whoops are basically, they're 4 to 6 feet high. They're close together, and you basically teeter-totter the bike over them. I, for instance, broke my neck in the whoops.
That's where you broke your neck?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
So, I know I've watched a couple of supercross races, and when you're watching it on TV, or even live sometimes, if you're far enough back, the whoops don't look that big. But then you watch, a track walk, and you're watching these guys going down, coming back up, going down, come back up, and then you're watching the race, and you're just going skipping across the top. You're like, no, there's just no way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, with the high speed of motocross outdoors, you're saying 5th, 6th gear, how fast are you booking it at that point in time?
Probably anywhere from 100 to 120 kilometers an hour.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there was actually one race that was beside a highway, and we were passing the cars on the highway.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's what's got me thinking, right? Like when we ride on the 401 here, like we're 120.
Yeah.
But now you're on a dirt track.
Jumps, going over jumps.
Corners and like how many bikes per heat?
So in a race, there's 40 guys.
Yeah.
Usually.
So 40 fucking bikes.
Yeah, and they're not staying in staggered formation.
No, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wow, that is absolutely crazy. Just unbelievable. So obviously there's pressure, right, for going through and becoming a professional racer. So what kind of pressures are the riders really under? Because obviously we've already talked about, you got to hit the gym. You got to be eating right. But then there's also, you need to be able to perform or you're getting cut from the team type thing. How is the pressure of being a professional?
Yeah, I think there's definitely different types of pressure. The toughest part, like for me, is like, after winning that first championship, you're pretty much expected to win. Like you get paid paid to win. Like
right.
That's pretty much expected. When I was an amateur, maybe or just getting into the pro class, I wasn't making a whole lot of money, so there wasn't as much pressure.
Right.
But I mean, it's stated in your contract, like you're like a lot of guys have performance rules in their contract, and if you don't meet those, you're not getting signed next year.
Now, what are some examples of those? Like, you must be in X number of races. You must be in the top 10, top 5.
Yep.
That type of thing.
Yeah, top 5 or top 3 or whatever it may be. I was always like after the first championship, it was always kind of just a given. Like they wouldn't put that in there, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of a championship guy, so some other guys might have some better experience with that. But I know there's some riders that, in order for them to get a contract the next year, they have to get a podium that season.
Right.
And if they don't, then the team has the option of just getting rid of them. They still have the option of staying with the team or whatever, but it definitely puts a little more pressure on the rider to perform.
So do you feel the weight of that at 14 years old? Do you understand what you're getting into at that age?
No, I didn't understand.
I wouldn't think so. Yeah.
I feel like when I started to understand stuff was like 25, and that was like way too late.
Right. Yeah.
Which I mean, maybe was probably a good thing for a lot of things. But and I think the toughest part for me, like from like 14 to 18, which was probably the years where I didn't do the greatest, was it's just everything going on, like the social media stuff like that. What are people writing about you on the forums? Like,
right.
I was kind of known as the kid that, like, through those years, it was the kid that didn't try very hard, wasn't very in shape.
Really?
Didn't really care, didn't have any heart, stuff like that.
Oh, shit. So what did you feel when you read that stuff at that age?
I don't know. I was pretty bummed out, I guess. Like, and, like, I probably almost quit a few times. Like it was pretty tough. Like, people are writing this stuff and like, I'm trying hard, and that wasn't the only aspect of it. Like I felt like my team kind of let me down, like wasn't like having like great equipment, and maybe that was partly to do with my effort. They weren't putting the same effort in too. So it's kind of like I don't know, it was a tough time in my career where I didn't know what to do, and that's when Blackfoot came to me with a contract and an offer, and that's when everything kind of just switched around.
Right.
Like a light switch.
Right, because they supported you, like, at a higher level and kind of pushed you and said, this is how it works, this is what you got to do.
Yeah, they were kind of, they were a team that was, basically they were known as the best team in Canada.
Right.
And I think just knowing that and knowing their experiences and the guys that they had on the team, that they would set me in the right direction. So I just kind of ate everything they put in front of me.
Right. Right.
Just unbelievable. Like I can't imagine. Like I remember what I was doing at 14, 15, 16, all throughout my teenagers, hell, partway into my 20s.
Yeah.
someone had come to me and said, "Hey, I got a contract for you." I've been like, "What?" Well, actually, no, that's not true, because at 19 I had a contract. It was the Army, though. They're like, "Yeah, you're going to go do this." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
At that age, I would have only had one contract.
Yeah.
That was masturbating was a paid sport. I would have for sure gotten that contract.
Yeah. Well, I just can't imagine, though, being a teenager and having like professional contracts being given to you, stuff like that, and then the pressures, and like you said, you didn't really realize the pressures at that point in time. Did you know what your parents were thinking at the time when it was like, okay, look, he's got to perform this way, he's got to perform that way?
Yeah, I think they steered me pretty good there.
Yeah.
For me, it was just, I was young. I didn't know. Like,
yeah,
I don't even know how to explain it. Really, it's just like
just going out, ride dirt bikes, and somebody's paying me.
Exactly. I think it made me grow up faster than I probably should have, and I probably did a lot of dumb stuff. But
well, you're in the business world now, right?
Yeah.
And you're in the public eye at 14, and like going back to the social media. I mean, we talked about that, like the pressures on a kid, because a young adult can't differentiate with social media.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything's a personal attack. Somebody writes something nasty, you can't just say, "Oh, whatever, people are just idiots." You take that to heart, and you feel it. Right? So if you got however many people saying that, "Oh, you're weak, you're not working hard enough, you're lazy, or whatever, you're not as good as people say you are because, well, you're injured or something's going on in your life," but that they don't know about, like that's got to hurt.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was tough a few times for sure, but I kind of thought to myself, I can take it as an insult and just go curl up in the corner and do nothing, but or I can just take it as, let's prove these guys wrong.
Yeah, take it as fuel.
Yeah. And it probably took me, several times of, hiding in that corner to change my mind and prove those people wrong, but
good for you. No, because it's hard at that age, right?
It is.
Like, we all know what it's like just to get made fun of at school.
Yeah.
And that's not even on a huge level, right? Like something, you're the joke of the day, and now you don't want to go back to school ever again.
Yeah.
Everybody hates me.
Yeah.
Oh,
hell, I feel like that now every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. But no, that's I'm just having a hard time fathoming, that starting out that young, and a lot of professional sports are doing that, where it's, if you're not a professional by mid-teens, chances are you're not going professional.
No.
And like we were at the track, we were riding with the local club and stuff like this, and you're going around walking through the pits, and you're hearing all the parents, "Oh yeah, my kid's going pro, my kid's going pro, my kid's going pro." Well, you got 80 kids out there, and apparently they're all going pro.
Yeah.
And but then you go and you find out who's actually gone pro, and the work that you have to go through to go from, okay, congratulations, I won a couple races, and then I had a not so good year, stuff like this. Like, no, you got to be like on top of your game the whole time, and basically be kicking everybody's ass every time you're going out. Like, I know, and I've talked about this before. There's that movie with The Rock, the Tooth Fairy, where the kid's like, "Yeah, I'm going to be a professional like you one day," and he's like, "Hey, so let me guess, you're like the top in your class right now. Well, there's a kid that's 1 year younger than you, and guess what? He's already at your level, stuff like this. So chances are you're not going pro, kid."
Yeah.
And stuff like this. And everybody, like the audience, the people in the movie are like, "What an asshole!" Can't believe he said that thing. It's basically true. Like, but still, like, it's unbelievable. It really is. With all these different pressures, you got to perform, and you got to be on your game. It's either you got it or you don't got it.
Well, and the other piece of that too, like to ask is, like, with that, I mean, what was the pressure from your parents? Was there pressure there when the pro card started looking closer and closer? Like, did they get like, "Come on, you got to work harder, you need this," or was it they still pretty chill? Like, "Hey, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't."
So that's actually a big kind of like aspect of my career. So my dad was probably the biggest hard ass you could possibly imagine. We would go to starting out, it was pretty mellow, and then like going into like 80s and 125s, like before I moved pro, like we would go to the track, and if I didn't ride good, we'd pack up and go home. He'd be like, "You're riding like shit, we're going home."
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you're not doing that jump over there? We're going home.
Yeah.
Go jump that effing jump.
Yeah.
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 So there's a lot of push. Like, come on.
Yes. And at the time, it was like, man, like, I hate this. Like, I want to quit.
Right.
Looking at it now, like, once I got past that 25-year mark, when I started, actually starting to know stuff, or not think I know stuff, but I was like, yeah, it was probably right. I probably wasn't pushing that day, and, he just wanted the best for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I could see that, but at the time, it was like, man, I just want to quit.
Yeah.
My dad's an ass.
Yeah.
I hate this. It's not fun anymore.
Right. And that's the thing, because that's when you start going to that level, it stops becoming about all fun. And now it's serious.
Yeah, and especially going pro, like, a lot of people think it's just this awesome sport and it's just all fun. Like, that's not the case. Like, it's a lot of hard work, and
you ride for a couple hours a day, then you drink with the girls, right? With all the
party,
track girls and party. Yeah.
So it's definitely a different story than what people see, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's unbelievable. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the diversity within the whole motocross, supercross world, because, I know a lot of people would go and say, oh no, that's, a white man sport type thing, right? But it's not. Like, there are many riders from different cultures, different backgrounds, and male and female. And like here in Canada, we have, the men's class and then the women's class and all that stuff there. And like, I've seen some of these women classes there, and it's like, holy crap! Like, there's still no way I'm competing with them. Not even, not even if I had like 10 years practice. There's no way. Like, these women are like, they're kicking ass. It's unbelievable. So, like, I'm sure you've seen it all over the place, where it's people from all different cultures and backgrounds and, different demographics.
It's like, especially riding at the Motocross of the Nations. You see pretty much every nationality, and everybody's fast there. Like, it's pretty crazy that, even from these small countries, that there's fast people. Yeah. And like you said, women. My wife actually raced.
I was going to ask that.
She was top 3 in Canada quite a few years in a row. So
right on.
That's actually how we met. We met at a race, and
What does a weekend look like at your house? It must be just adrenaline from fucking Saturday morning till Sunday night. What do you want to do today? I don't know. You want to jump out of a fucking plane or something? It's just a slow day.
Yeah, we'll jump out of the plane, on the bikes, onto the track, and then we'll do this, and right into the ocean where we'll just go swim with some sharks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, are you an adrenaline junkie? Like, do you like doing shit that pushes you?
Not real. Like, I don't know. I just enjoy moto. Like, and my wife does too. It's I think that's the biggest thing that I've always enjoyed about motocross is it's a family sport. So my favorite thing to do is just go to the race, hang out, talk to people.
Well, because I was noticing that myself. Like, when my boy went racing there that first year, going back a little bit, what we were talking about before about how expensive it was. Like, I dropped $25,000 for that first year. Now, mind you, that was getting the utility trailer to pull everything, all the camping gear, because I couldn't buy the fifth wheel. It just wasn't happening, as much as I wanted. Because after the Army ruined me for actually going camping, So, but, I made sure I had, that nice queen size blow up bed, for the tent and all that good stuff. But it was getting the bikes, taking them to camp, because, Dad can only teach them so much,
Right.
And then, it was all the other stuff. But yeah, so like that cost me $25,000, but we go and, we'd have everything kind of pre-packed on the Thursday night. And then Friday I get home from work. We'd put the final touches on it, take off to the track. We'd set up camp. The boy would go out and ride for a little bit, a couple little practice laps and, stuff like that. And then Saturday it was just practicing all day long, and then you have Sunday's race day, and away you go. And you're, going out, and like the boy might only be racing 2-3 times, in the class that he was in, but it's that whole day. And like, as you said, it's a giant family experience. Like, we had a great time. We're out there, we're camping, chilling out, we're talking to different people, it's awesome. It really is.
Well, like we said, it's a culture of its own, right? Like, everybody's there for one reason, but
and it's, common. Everybody's there to race and race hard, but, if you need for instance, like if you need a part, your bike breaks, everybody's pretty cool. Like, hey, we'll get you this. You need to board for the day. Yeah, cool. Like everybody gets along pretty good. And that's where it's a little bit different from Canada to the U.S.
Right.
You could do that in Canada. U.S. No.
Stay away from my parts.
It's cutthroat.
Really?
Yeah. It's a different atmosphere down there for sure.
Wow.
So even the culture of motocross, just between different countries, is completely different.
Yeah. And just even the racing too. Like a lot of guys from the U.S. will come up here to Canada to race, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is awesome. This is laid back." And I'll be like, "So how is it in the U.S.?" "Oh, it's cutthroat. Like I hate it." And that's I've raced down in the States too, and that's how it is down there. Those guys are there's more money on the line, and they're going for it either way. Like they'll push the limits. They'll push you off the track or whatever. Like it's definitely a little.
So
bit
at
more.
Any cost, just get in there
For the most part, yes.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, as Canadians, we don't do that.
No.
A little bit of a rub. We're like, sorry.
Well, I remember. I think. The boy went out for a training day actually at Gopher, right after we got on his bike, and of course I knew I am not a mechanic. Okay, like when I was in the Army, I fixed guns. That's what I fixed. Engines, that wasn't happening. And we got out there. I thought I had everything that I needed and all this good stuff. Everything was fantastic. And then went to go and start the bike, and the bike's just not starting. Well, after I kicked it over a couple times, checked a few things that I knew to check, next thing you know, I had 3 dads over there. What's wrong with the bike? I'm like, I have no idea. Oh, well, here, let's try this. Let's try it. And then next thing you know, I'm standing back, and I got 3 other dads checking it out, and they're like, oh, you know what? You got a bad spark plug. That's what this is. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I'm, calling up the wife saying, hey, listen, remember those spark plugs? Remember I put them in this drawer here? Yeah. Can you bring them? Yeah, I can bring them. Oh, it's going to be a while. I'm like, oh, man, it's going to be like an hour before I get these things, and so this. And the one dad's like, oh, here, I got one for you, Next thing you know, I got spark plugs coming to me and stuff like this. I'm like, well, here, I'm pulling out the wallet to go hand the money for it. And he's like, fuck, don't worry about it. It's all good. I'm like, okay, cool. And every race that we went to, it was like that. As you said, everybody's helping everybody out, fixing the problems, fixing any issues with the bikes. Everybody's always there to help out, You're always still going to have that 1 or 2, people there that are like, no, this is the way it is, and forget you, my kid's going pro. Well, relax, your kid's probably not going pro. But
your kid's not following everybody on the track because he's being polite.
Yeah.
It sucks. So, do you have a hard time going to tracks in the area? Do people leave you alone? Or do you get, a lot of people trying to talk to you, come up to you, parents saying, hey, can you give my kid some tips on this?
No, I think most people are kind of nervous to come talk to me, but I'm pretty open book. If anybody comes to talk to me, I'm cool with that, right? I've went up to pros before and just kind of brush you off. So
right,
I try to be as normal as I can. I'm no different from you guys or anybody else, right? So
if
somebody wants to come talk to me, and I'll give them a couple tips here or there, whatever they need. And whatever they want, basically.
Yeah. It's just that fine line of actually having time to yourself to actually ride, as opposed to being there all day talking to people one after the other coming up, right?
Yeah, it's for race days, we'll have our semi there, and if I need to go, get in the right mindset, I'll go upstairs and turn the lights off, have a little nap, whatever. It's pretty easy, right?
Yeah, an escape area.
Yeah.
A safe space.
Yeah.
Motocross safe space. Who knew?
I like that. That's awesome. Oh, and I got to admit, you go and you watch some of the pro races and stuff like that. That smell of race fuel as the bikes are ripping by.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is absolutely awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I was watching one of the videos that you did. Somebody else was interviewing you and stuff like this. And actually, no, you were answering questions from people. And it got me thinking. Are most racers superstitious?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Because I know you said that you had some pre-race rituals that you have, and I believe it was you put everything on the right on first.
Yeah, do it right. Do it on the right.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Like, are there any other superstitions that you've heard of? People doing certain things, like gotta make sure you got your lucky rabbit's foot, tucked up in behind the exhaust or something.
I think they're just all kind of odd, quirky ones like that.
Yeah.
Like the one year I had a superstition that it was blue gear with red gloves. That's all I wanted to wear. So I told Fox, I was like, okay, the first round was all blue gear. I won that round. I was like, I want blue gear every single round, red gloves. And that was my new thing, like, for probably 4 or 5 years, I wore red gloves. I just like red gloves.
Wow.
I don't know if it's just because I can see it in my peripherals or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know what to say. Like, I imagine if there's something that's working for you, why fuck with it?
Well, and I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
When you amount things that seem to be working.
I think it's like the sports psychology aspect of it. Like if it gives you that little bit of edge to make you think, like.
Well, and I know there's a lot of like sports stars out there that are like that.
It's like
every game day
thing.
they have a exact ritual that they follow up to game time, and it has to go that way all day, or things are going to go to shit, I guess, or whatever. Interesting.
Wow. Okay, so since you've been around the motocross world for a number of years, are there any other fun or unknown facts about racing and motocross that you can think of? Just weird things that because like as I said, you have the racers being superstitious, and I imagine the rest of the team's fairly superstitious with how things work and stuff like that. But are there any other interesting things that not a lot of people would probably know out there? That, hey, by the way, here's this little thing that happens like behind the scenes.
Ooh. I don't know. It's
He's
just
scared he's going to be in trouble.
No,
This question.
Oh no, I'm not.
I'm outing the whole community. Shit.
No, I think there's lots of like rivalries behind the scenes, like that you don't see. But beyond that, I mean, it's. I feel like it's like every other sport. Everybody wants to do as good as they can, and they're, they'll do anything to win, right? Like, and
You don't have to give any names, but were there any riders that you just could not stand?
No, like, I was pretty good. Like, I always got along good with everybody. There was actually one guy that I was, like, best friends with, and he took me out, like, 4 times one year, and that kind of blew up, and that's, we're not friends anymore. We used to be Xbox friends and, friends at the track, and now he deleted me and all that kind of stuff.
But he took you out, you mean like he wiped you out on the track? Like he'd kick you over, or? No,
it took me out a couple times, and then took me out at one of the second to last round, and I ended up cracking my back and a whole bunch of stuff. And,
shit. Good friend.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, and
that's how it goes, like that's, I get it. Like that's part of racing. Like that's the lengths that you will go to win. Like, can't beat somebody, take them out, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. So, obviously, with your boy riding now and stuff like this, like you're still riding, out playing around all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's the best part now for me is taking him to go ride.
Well, because like I know for like myself, like when the boy graduated from the 65, decided to go to the 85 and stuff like that. My wife and I had a very big heart-to-heart when she's like, listen, you're too old. You're too out of shape. You need to get rid of your bike. You're just going to die, And after going out riding on the track the one time, I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I came off in tears. I was just hurting that bad. And I'd only done like 3 laps, and I was like, I can't do this. I was destroyed, but I went, I got rid of the bike, and I'm just like, there's not like a day that goes by where I'm like, man, if I see a picture of a dirt bike, I'm like, I want to go ride. But I know I'd cry.
Yeah.
It's painful. It really is.
It looks painful.
Especially when you're not in shape, and then like you hit the jumps wrong. Like casing a jump, that sucks. Going up and not coming down on the downside there, but landing right on top. Yeah, that hurts. That hurts like hell.
Yeah, there's some big big consequences for sure.
Yeah. So, what is the future holding for you now? Like, you've retired from professional racing. You're 31. Like, you've got like a long time to go before
my life's over.
Yeah,
That's right. Yes.
My life's over.
Yeah.
No, we hear you have some big news that you haven't been able to release yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, like the whole retirement thing for me was tough because I didn't finish school. I didn't know what I was doing. Kind of took me a long time to figure out, and luckily I've surrounded myself with good people that have steered me in the right direction and have, I wouldn't expect somebody to just give me something, when I retire, but I don't know if I almost thought that it would be easier that way, like, because I know so many people, but I mean, nobody wants to give up, a piece of their pie, right?
Yeah.
So that was the toughest part, and so I was able to work stuff out with the team where I'm going to be back with the team next year. I'll be going to the races as like a team manager, rider mentor, so pretty happy about that. I'll still be at the races, so I don't think I'll miss it as much, so it's kind of like a good transition. And then I'm
So yeah, like manager, like team manager type thing, mentor rider. Now you were also saying something about suspension.
Yeah, that's my other thing that I'm pretty pumped about. That's one of the things I've enjoyed a lot about racing and being the ability to set up a bike. And suspension is one of the biggest things on how to set up the bike. Like if your suspension don't work, you're hitting the ground hard and you don't feel confident on the bike. So I've worked with the same suspension company, SSS, for the last, I don't know, basically since I went on the Blackfoot team.
Right.
And won every championship with them, been working with them to develop settings, get it better here and there. So he's going to work with me to be able to, I'm going to do suspension at Gopher and yeah.
So you're going to be like a face for that company?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Is the idea to sell the product?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll be like a suspension technician out of Gopher there. And,
nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
Fantastic.
Right on. So does that put you, the other one, the manager of the team, does that put you back on the road a lot?
The team manager?
Yeah.
Yeah, that puts me at basically every race.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Which the wife might not be too happy about.
I was just going to ask that, yeah.
You're retiring, like, you don't have to go to the races anymore. And I was like, wow, yeah, I kind of want to, like, for at least a little bit longer, like.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it, like, cold turkey like that. That would be tough, and it's still kind of new to me right now, like retirement. Like this part of the year, I would basically just start going down to Georgia right now to start my preseason training.
Right.
So it hasn't really set in yet.
No,
I think.
for sure.
I think once we get to like the first few rounds and stuff, it'll probably set in. I'll be like, shit, I can beat those guys. Like,
right.
I need to get back out there.
Yeah, there's got to be a bit of a depression to that, eh? Like a bit of a down, like, oh, fuck, I should be there. I should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, even like years where I've gotten hurt and I'll be like, oh, that guy won that year. Like, I could have dusted him.
Yeah, right, that's right.
It's kind of a shitty feeling knowing that, like, but I don't know, you just move on, get through it, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think you're smart kind of going out on top and before you're crippled later in life, right? Like, especially you got family, you've got all that stuff to think about, right?
Yeah,
it sounds like
that was the biggest thing for sure. Just, getting through my last year healthy and, anything above and beyond that was, cherry on the cake, and to win the championship was, unreal.
Amazing way. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Go out on top.
That's awesome. Well, first off, thank you so much for being here today, talking with us, helping to explain, motocross culture, explaining your career and stuff like this. This has been a fantastic interview. I've enjoyed every second of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Appreciate it big time.
I'm happy to be a part of it. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good.
All right, well, that wraps up this episode of Nate and Greg's World. Today we were discussing diversity in sports, and as I said, it's with Canadian Professional Motocross Racing. And so a huge thank out to 6-time Canadian National Motocross Champion Colton Facciotti for joining us today. It's been amazing. Don't forget to make sure you hit that subscribe and bell icon to stay up to date with us, and check us out on our other platforms that we have. Until then, have a good week.
Why are you so offended?